When you walk into a courtroom, the first thing you notice is silence. Not just the silence of walls and chairs, but the silence of history waiting to be spoken. The raised bench, the black robes, the words made please, my lords, or the court. It looks like ritual, but it is more than a ritual. The bench is a mirror of our society. When you stand before the judges, you are not just facing law, you are facing the distilled conscience of the society itself. Every judgment is a reflection of who we are, our fears, our prejudice, our ambitions, our contradictions. And yet, here's the paradox: the bench does not just mirror, it shapes, it sculpts, it tells us not only what we are, but what we might become. Let's think about what fails our courts. Case after case of dowry deaths. That's not just crime statistics, that's the family life rotting under greed. Petitions about land and inheritance, that's our obsession with property and control. Corruption cases, that's our hunger for power laid bare. The courtroom is society's diary, written in pleadings. And in moments of crisis, that mirror shows our darkest turns and truths. During the emergency in 1976, the Supreme Court in ADM Jabalpur held that even the right to life could be suspended. Justice Khanna dissented alone. He wrote, "Without the right to life and personal liberty, all other rights are meaningless." Even in the absence of Article 21, the state has no power to deprive a person of his life and liberty without the authority of law. That lone dissent became the conscience of India. The mirror was cracked, but one voice kept the reflection of freedom alive. But the bench does more than mirror, it chisels the future. In 1973, in Keshavananda Bharati, the court said the basic structure of the constitution cannot be abrogated even by a constitutional amendment. That was not just interpretation, that was destiny. It gave democracy its backbone. In 1997, in Vishaka versus State of Rajasthan, the court said gender equality includes protection from sexual harassment. It is the duty of the employer to provide a safe working environment. There was no statute. Parliament had failed, but the court did not wait because dignity could not wait. And in Navtej Singh Johar, 2018, Justice Chanchud wrote, "History owes an apology to the members of the LGBTQ community for delaying ensuring their rights." Do you hear that? That is not just law, that is society being reshaped in the voice of its own conscience. So, what's the tension? There is always a tension. Sometimes the bench reflects bias. In sexual assault cases, courts have used language that mirrors society's patriarchy, questioning women's character. Measuring modesty by clothing, the mirror reflects prejudice, and sometimes the bench dares to leap ahead. In Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India 2017, the Supreme Court declared privacy a fundamental right. Justice Chanchud said, "Privacy is the ultimate expression of the sanctity of an individual. It is the constitutional core of human dignity." Society wasn't fully ready for it, but the bench pulled the nation forward, one judgment at a time. Tension is not weakness, it is a democracy breathing, caught between tradition and transformation. What is the soul of a nation? Gandhi said, "It lies in villages." Ambedkar said, "It lies in the constitution." But I say, the soul of a nation is tested in its courts. In Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India 1978, the court held the right to life is not merely the right to animal existence. It includes the right to live with dignity. That single sentence expanded Article 21 into the very foundation of Indian constitutionalism. The bench becomes the nation's conscience when it dares to ask, do we treat the poor man's plea with the same weight as a corporate petition? Do we let justice sleep in adjournments while lives are destroyed? Do we remember that liberty is not from charity, from the state, but the birthright of every citizen? Why this matters now? Look around. Politics is polarized, media is fractured, trust in institutions is corroding. In such times, the bench is not just a forum of law, it is the last theater of truth. But it survives only on the moral authority. If that authority is lost, If judgments bow to pressure or delay becomes injustice, then the soul of the nation begins to fade. So the next time you read a judgment, don't skim it as a legalese. Ask yourself, what does this say about us as a people? About who we are, about who we want to be. Because the bench is not a cold stone street, it is a mirror. And in that mirror, a nation sees its soul. The question history will ask us is simple. When we looked into that mirror, did we like what we saw? This is the bench as a mirror of society. And I will keep asking these questions not because they are easy, but because a nation that stops questioning its bench stops questioning itself. This is Amod Biduri, and we will meet again in the next hearing. Thank you.